Hi everyone, hope you all are doing really well and preparing really well. And this video is for real-time TCS technical interview questions for freshers. And this video is like programming questions asked in many of the MNC. And this video is all about freshers. So if you know any of the freshers I don't know they are my subscriber or not. And if you know them, kindly share this video to them so that it will be useful for them. So this now I know that TCS is giving like organizing some off-campus drive as well. So I think this is a great time to watch this video and start preparing. And this video will give you the guidance and how you can move, how you can start your studies towards programming. And I have given the interview on my college days on TCS, so I do have the real-time experience of TCS. TCS interview questions. I have qualified to, I think, technical round and the HR round for the TCS, and I have a great experience of TCS technical interview. But I know it's a long. I have given the interview long back, but this video will have some of the advanced questions too. So before we move on, I want you to like this video and share this video, and please subscribe to my channel so that you'll get and click on the notification button also, so you'll get notified whenever I'll upload a new video. So let's move to the slide. Okay, so what does a static variable mean? So static is an access qualifier, as we all know. So if a variable is declared as a static inside a function, the scope is limited to the function, but it will exist for the lifetime of the program. Values will be persisted between successive calls to the function. So static variable, static method. So these are the questions which you have to prepare, and you even have to prepare why we put public static void main, why we use public, why we use private, why we use protected. So all those things you need to prepare, all those questions. So whatever languages you choose, C, C++, Java. So these are the basic questions you need to know, because OOPS concepts are the basic things, and this is only required in the TCS at this point of time. They don't go deep diving into any of the thing, but your basics should be clear. You should know what you're saying. So that is very important, when you're giving interview as a fresher. So your basics should be strong. So that is only required. So I think for the IT and CS guy, it is very easier for do that. But for the electronics and electrical, because it's very out of box thing for them, because programming is not any subject, I think, apart from first semester or first year. And it will be more of their mainly electronics and the communication thing for them. But for this, I think if they wanted to go software, they have to know the languages as well. And sometimes for some people it becomes very difficult to get into it. Some people can get easily. Even the EC guys are very good at programming. I am the EC person. So yeah, but sometimes it becomes, and I faced some of the difficulties when I was learning it. So it's not about that everything you can get it. But now there are many sources which you can clear your doubt. There are a lot of channels over there. But what to learn, that is the meaning. What you should learn, where you should go, what should be your approach, that is required, because there are a lot of things and you cannot invest your time. And at the time of interview, you should be remembering all those things. I know the pressure, guys, and how you forget the thing when you are in pressure. And also you have to be if you're prepared really well, no matter what, you'll be very confident. And if your basics are clear, you'll be able to answer it, and you'll get you'll get the opportunity to get into the TCS. So yeah, how do you print an address? Use %P in printf to print the address. So what are macros and what are its advantages and its disadvantage? So macros are processor directive which will be replaced at compile time. The disadvantage with macros is that they will just replace the code. They are not function calls. Similarly, the advantage is that they can reduce time for replacing the same value. So compile time error, runtime error, what are those you should need to prepare? Difference between pass by reference, pass by value. So yes, guys, I just don't go through the slide. At least listen to me what I'm saying, because at the time of giving the presentation, I may remember some or other things which I'm gonna share with you. So pass by value just passes the value from caller to calling function, so that the call function cannot modify the values in caller function. But Pass by reference will pass the address to the caller function instead of value. If called function requires to modify any value, it can directly modify. What is an object? Object is a software bundle of variables and related methods. Object have state and behavior. Okay, so when I said you have to understand the OOPS concept. So OOPS concept does as class, object, inheritance, abstraction, polymorphism, and encapsulation. So I think these are the 4 topics you need to, and you just don't get into the definition, at least write the code, how those code has been written, and how we can, how we can achieve inheritance, how we can achieve polymorphism, and where we can use that. Those all things were very important things. OOPS concept, if you start from today, it will take you around 10 days to understand it, and thoroughly you have to practice the code. So just start from today. If you are watching this video, just start from today and see how much, at least if you are giving 1 hour in a day, it is very, it's okay. This 1 hour, that it will take you around 10 or 7 to 8 days to understand the completely OOPS concepts. So I think those are things very important. If you work down and if you understand the OOPS concept, that is the, best thing ever. And that will make you understand everything. Okay. So yes, that topic is very important. Now, what is class? Class is a group of objects. So okay, so group of objects in a single unit is called class. So that is the definition of class, and in this you can read it. So what is the difference between null and void pointer? And I want you to go through class and objects, so you can go through by your own. So and you will understand more about it. And if you have any doubts, you just put your mail ID or maybe your doubt in the comment section below. I'll just answer it, and if you want any help, you can communicate me through your mail ID. You just shoot your mail ID below. I'll only contact you. Okay, so null pointer has a value 0. Void pointer is a generic pointer introduced by ANSI. So pointer can hold the address of any data point. Okay, void pointer can hold the address of any data type. Tell me something about abstract classes. An abstract class is a class which does not fully represent an object. Instead, it represents a broad range of different classes of objects. However, this representation extends only to the features that those classes of objects have in common. Thus, an abstract class provides only partial description of its object. Okay, abstract class, abstract method, these you need to learn. What is the difference between an array and a list? This array is also very important topic, and list also. Array is a collection of homogeneous element. List is a collection of heterogeneous element. Homogeneous is like same kind of. Heterogeneous is a different. For an array, memory is like allocated is static and continuous. For list, memory allocated is dynamic and random. Array, user need to keep a track of next memory location, whereas in the list, user does not need to keep a track of it. Okay, in array, user does not have to keep a track of next memory location, but in the list, we have to keep a track of it. Array uses direct access of a stored members. List uses sequential access for a stored member. So in the array, you need to learn how we can create an array and how we can create a list. You should know the syntax of it and where we used it. Okay. What are the advantage of inheritance? So I have said that OOPS concept. So inheritance, if you learn OOPS concept, it will not only help you guys now, if you become a software engineer or maybe in any other field, if you go in the software industry, OOPS concept will help you throughout your life. So this OOPS concept, you can understand everything easily. So that's why this is a great time for you. And when you are starting it, this is a very good time for you to prepare your basics and get clear and understand it, so that it will be helpful for you in your next phase of your life. And you, as we all know that like whatever you do, whatever you learn, it will not gonna waste you. It will not gonna waste any it will not goes waste, right? Any time, any phase of your life, that knowledge will only help you. So it will knowledge will like whatever you learn today, and this will help you in any point of your life. So yes, it will never goes into waste. So whatever you learn, just give your best to learn it. How much time you will give, either 1 hour, 2 hours, just give everything to your studies. So that will really help you guys. Okay. So what is the advantage of inheritance? It permits code reusability. Reusability saves time in program development. It encourages the reuse of proven and debugging high quality software, thus reducing problem after a system becomes functional. Okay. And then we come to database as well. So now I have said that we should know the advanced version of it. So some of the IT or CS guys are also watching this video. So yeah. So what are the two integrity rules in DBMS? So the two types of integrity rules are referential integrity rules and entity integrity rules. Referential integrity rules dictate the database does not contain often foreign key values. This means that a primary value, a key value cannot be modified if the value is used as a foreign key in a child table. Integrity dictates that a primary key value cannot be null. So these are the two rules which you have to know about the DBMS. What is cache memory? Cache memory is used by the central processing unit, that is CPU, of a computer to reduce the average time to access the memory. As we know, we do have a cache memory that we remember some of the things, maybe yesterday's things, right? I might remember today or maybe a week after today. So that will, like I can easily access it, right? So that is called cache memory. So that's why when you study like at least 1 hour in a day the same topic and you that is there in your cache memory, you can easily get it. So if you're able to answer it easily and it is there in your cache memory, you'll be getting confidence, you'll be having everything when you prepare well. So that is the thing, that is the key to become to be confident in the interview, is that just prepare everything in a good way, that clear your basics, or just don't go through and mug up the concepts. If you understand everything, you'll be confident and you'll be able to go through the any of the interviews. So if you don't know, so that is also fine, you can say sorry, but at least basic you should know. You cannot say sorry at the time of when they ask you very simple questions, right? The cache is a smaller and faster memory which stores copies of the data from the mostly frequently used main memory location. As long as most memory access are cached memory location, the average latency of a memory access will be closer to the cache latency, to the latency of the main memory. So as I told you, cache memory is like, it's very, we can easily access it. It's smaller and the faster it is there in a cache memory, you can easily access it. So what is debugger? Debugger or debugging tool is a computer program that is used to test and debug other programs. Difference between compiler and interpreter. So this is also a very important question. Interpreter reads one instruction at a time and carries out the action implied by that instruction. It does not perform any translation. Compiler translates the entire instruction. Okay. List of some areas in which you can even go for compiler interpreter more in detail. So yeah, I have just leave you the questions. This video is all about getting into the topics. I'm giving you one-liner answer of everything, but you should go through the topics as well. So list of some areas in which data structure is applied extensively. Following are the areas in which data structure is used: numerical analysis, database management system, artificial intelligence, operating system, statistical analysis package. What is DBMS? DBMS stands for Database Management System. It is a software used to manage your database. DBMS provides an interface between application and the databases. Explain the difference between the foreign and the reference key. Foreign key is used to link to tables. On the other side, the reference key is a primary key that is reference to in the other table. So primary key and the foreign key is very easy concept. You can go see when we use one table, like I have used a table, so it will be here I have created a primary key. Okay, you should know the function this thing, characteristics of primary key as well. So in this table I have a primary key. Okay, so this primary key, so when I'm using the same like I have a column called primary key. So when I'm using B table and I have to use the primary key column here as well with the same values. So here in this B value it will be a foreign key. Okay. Explain the concept of tree. Tree is an abstract data type. It represents the nodes which are connected by edges. Define polymorphism is a concept used in OOPS. Polymorphism allows you to perform a single action in different ways. Okay, like add. You can do different types of add here, right? Okay, you can go through polymorphism. It's very easy, guys. You have to learn that. That's the only thing. What is SDLC? Software development lifecycle or an application development lifecycle. As I said, this video is all about the latest questions as well. It's not about the 5 years or 4 years back. So now current what they are gonna ask you this, because you have to work on these things. Okay. Software engineering to describe the process. So the process consists of planning, creating, testing, and deploying. So I think okay, you have to find the sum of an element. Write a program to find the sum of an element. So okay, I think I'm not able to see the question. You can okay, this question is about to find the sum of an element. We have written it into C. So we have initialized it we have initialized sum equals to 0. We use for loop here, and I equals to 0, and we put n integer n, that is the array of a size n. We have taken the array of a size n. So given array, we have to write the sum of an element in a given array. Okay. So this is how this program, and I don't need to go through it. So you can, I have just given the logic of it. So I think size of an array, yeah. Just see the program and understand it. So we have to iterate through all the elements and add it. So how we do it practically? So we have a list of an array, let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So let's say 8. So n is equals to 8. Okay. So r is started from 0. Okay, it should be index based. So 0 to n, it will go to n. Then we'll start adding those things. Like we'll be adding 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So how we can do that? In this way we can do that. Okay. Write a program to reverse an array or a string. So I have given you logic of it, that input we have 1 2 3, and then output we want 3 2 1. We have to reverse a string 4 5 1 2 2 1 5 4. So what we do it, we initialize start and end indexes. As we know, indexes start from 0, and it will then, if you start from 0, it will go to n minus 1. It will be the end. So in a loop swap, we will be using ARR, like array start, with an array end, and change start and end as follows. So start plus 1 and end is, start equals to start plus 1 and end is equals to n minus 1. So if you see this one, this is the logic of it. So as if you know little bits of programming, I think this is the logic which we have to use it. And yeah, I think you have to go through it, right? So that is the only way. And if you want, now I think we're gonna end this video. And if you want me to prepare video on technical questions, as you put the favorite subjects, right, for the electronics guys, so I have some of the questions which I knew. And if you want to contact me, you just put your email ID. I can go and guide you on the on your interview. So you can shoot your email ID and I can contact you. And I think you guys, some of you guys has know my email ID. You can contact me through my mail. And if you want me to prepare a video on any of your academics questions on electronics background, for which they gonna ask you in an interview, I'm not sure that the same question will be, but for and I have some of the questions which I think they should gonna ask, and I can make a video on it. But yes, you have to put a comment over that. And yes, yeah. And if you want a slide also, and the drill, you have to put your mail ID here and ask me to share the idea, share the slide. I'm gonna share that. So thank you for watching this video, and all the best guys, those who are preparing really well, and those who are preparing for the interview. And just be confident and prepare. And if you want to get motivated also to start every day, I know every day you have to start from studying and everything. So just think, you want this, right? How much you want it. So that's the only key. And if you feel little low, you just go and search some of the positive quotes and see some of the positive people out there, and that will really help you. And just breathe, guys. That is the only thing required. You should not force you, and You should not pressurize yourself for an interview. That is the key. So yeah, thank you guys, thank you for watching, and please like and share this video as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.